Yo, what's up, guys? All right, so this video, we are going to talk about the cycle. I just want to clear some things up and want to inform you the approach that I take that is not the same for everyone, and why I think it works, why I think AMC is manipulated, why I think we keep seeing these specific rallies or major dumps happen around this very small window that I'm about to pull up here. Okay. All right. So, what is the cycle? So, the cycle is taken from the June run up. Okay. That's what we use here as reference because I think it displays and kind of interprets the cycle the best way, right? We can take any section, any 62-day section here, and use it as a cycle if we wanted to, but the important thing here to track is the start of the cycle and the end of the cycle, because that is what makes this thing work. Okay, so I've already done this here, so I don't have to pull it up here. But here are cyclical lines. You can see here, this little tool here just repeats everything. So you guys can see that I'm just copy and pasting this thing over and over and over again. Now this little range here, okay, see down here is a 63, about 63, anywhere from 61 to 63 days long. Okay, and they're all going to be the same. So you can see here that nothing is manipulated or shifted around or taken apart. Like these are copy, pasted all the way through. I'll pull up the cycle again. You can see everything here is shifted and lines up at the start and the end of these lines, right? Okay, so now that we know the cycle is 2 months long, runs every 62 days, then we can pull up these points of interest, what I call the POIs. All right, these points of interest in the cycle show up like this. Now, this is the part I want to clear up, and so that there's not a misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the community, because I think that's very important. And I know that most of you know this, but the new ones coming in might not know this, and I want to clarify that. I want to make this very clear. So the run-ups that are happening here, okay, they're very consistent in that they only happen around this 13-day window, this little window we have going on here. Now, that's not saying that every time we come up to it, because there is a massive rally on the cycle here, that I'm calling for a squeeze or that I'm calling for major downside or anything. No. All this is saying is that within this little 13-day window, there is a correlation that the price has rallied 5 out of 5 times in the past. So what that means is that, well, these green rallies that you're seeing here, we can confirm this with volume, okay? There has not been one rally outside of the cycle here that has played out, meaning that there's not been a major rally on AMC outside this 13-day window. So that's very important, and there's high correlation with that, okay? It's a simple way to look at the markets. Now this goes, and there's a lot more that does go into it, but it's very simple the way the cycle tracks. I mean, you can't really change this. It's been consistent, right? There's periods in the market where there's no volatility. Why this is, I think, where the misunderstanding comes in the cycle, is that when it comes up, you know, there are certain people that think, oh, well, this guy's calling for a squeeze or this guy's calling for a major rally. But the reality here is that it's just an opportunity, because every single time in the past, AMC has only rallied inside the POI, the point of interest, okay? So you can see the last 4 here have been very dry. There's actually been downside on these, but these are not, okay, these are not points where there was major volatility on AMC. Okay, so like you can see back here, guys, and this is where there's correlation, right? We have the June rally, followed by the June rally. There's a lot of volume. You have what are these, we call them inverse points of interest, because Well, two things are going to happen here. You're either going to see some kind of volume that's orchestrated and still shows downside, like most of these here show just an inverse POI, like the price is literally doing the opposite, it's going down. But there's going to be some periods in the market where things just trade sideways because the markets don't always go up, they don't always go down. There are periods where the price is stagnant, right? We have parallel channels where we track the price just bouncing back and forth. Between these stagnant periods, when volume starts to dry, that's where you either experience heavy volume to the downside or heavy volume to the upside. But the special thing about the cycle here is that it's consistent, it's cyclical. It happens every 62 days. That's what's important to track here. And I think that's the missing key here is understanding that. Every time we come up to it, I don't see a reason why I can't push this information out and tell you, hey, if you understand how this works, when I overlay these patterns on top, say we take this back here, right? We're going to take 3 cycles here for you. So the 2 cycles plus 1 POI we're going to take, right? This was one way I was able to predict not only the run up that happened here, right? We talked about this and how when periods of accumulation or distribution used the same way, it's good to use this strategy along with the cycle. But when we come up to these, the patterns aren't going to be one-to-one. It's what's most important here is not what's happening in between, but what's happening in the beginning and in the end. And these are consistent because when you overlay them back to back, you can see that right as we enter the POI, we have the volume coming in. It goes up. Okay, and same thing back here. In the August run-up, we did the same thing, guys. From the start of the POI to the end, what do we have? The rally. Okay, so just because it hasn't happened here, because the volume's been dry, the markets have been trying to correct themselves, doesn't mean that this doesn't work and that it's garbage or there's no consistency. Like, dude, this stuff is I mean, I'm showing it to you guys. It's the data, numbers don't lie, okay? So just want to put that out there, man. I just want to share this approach, and I hope that clears up some of this going around, that the validity against this, because I believe that AMC works a certain way along with the entire market. I think things are structured and they work and run a certain way with algorithms. Okay, so that's just my view. You don't have to agree with it, but here it is for you guys. I hope that clears some things up. If you have any questions or anything, just drop the comments down below, and I'll do my best to get them on the next stream or the next video. All right. Also, guys, just one more thing. If you want to know more about this, there are plenty of videos that I posted in the beginning. When I started the channel, specifically the channel was talking about the cycle. You get some jingles with it too, man. I have some videos where I just kind of put it into a song. You got to put it into a song. And it talks about the cycle then. And nothing's changed ever since this came out. I mean, it's very, like I said, very plain and simple in the way this is just the cycle repeating itself over and over and over again. Okay, then we use everything else on top of it, technicals, what's going around in the markets, to make better judgment and projection then on what could happen in the end. So remember, when I overlay these on top like this, I'm not calling for a squeeze or a major rally. We're going to hit a certain price. That we talk about later with technicals. Okay, this is just me showing you where the points of interest lie, where the potential is, and how we could see things potentially play out. Because if you can't predict things in the market, then what are you doing, man? Like the whole purpose of doing analysis, right, is because you're sharing your perspective, you're sharing the possibilities that can happen in the market and how they can play out in the end. But again, yeah, take this like Trey used to say, right, with a grain of salt, because nothing in the market is 100% guaranteed. Even if it looks promising, you still have to look at things from what you conjure up in the end, what your DD is in the end. All right, guys, that is it from me. I'll see you on the next stream. Take care. Bye-bye.